What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Revival. My name is JJ, and I kind of have been wanting to do this video for a while now, since I started my channel. And I mean, it's something I think about all the time as a Final Fantasy fan. But I thought I'd put together kind of a Final Fantasy XVI wish list. We've seen like teasers that some people are like estimating might be the new installment in the series, but there's been no confirmation one way or the other, so people are just kind of guessing. It does look cool though, but I am I'm just gonna kind of put together a list of like 5 things that I would love to see in the newest one. So here we go. Being an old school Final Fantasy fan, I'll always have a special place in my heart for any form of turn-based combat. While some people say that this style is dated and has no place in modern-day gaming, I think most people who have played games like Persona 5 and Octopath Traveler can safely disagree with that sentiment. That being said, I'm not advocating that we should go back to pure turn-based, where each character has a set turn in battle and you have to wait with no way to affect when they go, but rather something closer to how the ATB system worked, where you can improve your position to perform an action in battle with stats, moves, items, etc. Final Fantasy 12, 13, and 15 all tried new things with the combat, but unfortunately for someone like me, who prefers to have complete control over their entire party, rather than shouting orders or setting up gambits, they fell a little short of what I was ultimately hoping for. Final Fantasy X nailed this setup, incorporating all the aforementioned components, and by combining the older ATB style with being able to switch your entire party in and out of battle on the fly, so that you had complete control over almost everyone at all times. This is totally a personal preference, and I am in no way saying this has to be done. As I've repeated more times than I can count, my favorite game of all time is Final Fantasy VI. For me, one of the best parts about the game is that there's no official main character, and that the game itself revolves around an entire group of characters, each from very different walks of life, but then weaves each of their narratives into one huge story. Yes, I am fully aware that many people consider Terra to be the main character of the story, but I've always liked the idea of an ensemble cast, with each member playing their part instead. Plus, Square emphasized there was no intended main character in an interview anyway, so yeah. One of the absolute best things to come out of the Final Fantasy series has been their approach to character classes, or jobs. Final Fantasy V did this in a wonderful way, being one of the first games to allow you to master multiple jobs and then carry over special abilities to create job hybrids. The customization that came along with this system offered so much replayability, in addition to simply creating fun conversations between people who played the game and exchanged strategies and shared ideas. That being said, I also think there's something to be said for allowing each character to have their own unique abilities. When you allow every character to master every ability, it doesn't leave very much room for party customization in the way of switching different characters out to work off of their strengths and weaknesses. You can simply stick with the same characters, master everything, and then that's it. So if you have any additional characters beyond the active party, there's really no point in switching any of them in, since they can all do the same things anyway. Again, let me preface this by saying I have found things to love in all of the games in the series, which is one of my favorite aspects of it. Final Fantasy has something to offer everyone. If you don't find something you like with one game, chances are there's another entry in the series that will better fit your preferences. For me personally, while I loved Final Fantasy VII and VIII, I was a little worried that the series was headed to a more futuristic type setting in the newer installments, and that the days of knights, castles, and crystals were on their way out. All those fears were alleviated when Final Fantasy IX dropped. I felt it was a wonderful return to the same fairy tale feeling that I got when playing the older games. Not that I'm opposed to sci-fi elements completely, but for me there's always been something about a fantasy setting that gives more of a sense of adventure, which is what I look for in RPGs. With the games that followed Final Fantasy IX, excluding 11 and 14, we saw that futuristic setting come back. I still enjoyed those games immensely, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't love to see them pull another move like they did with 9. Okay, let me get one thing out of the way. I had a great time with Final Fantasy 15. I even had fun with 13 when I played it. However, ever since the PS3 era of Final Fantasy, it seems we moved towards this need to make everything cool and dark, rather than just telling a good story. I'm not saying the stories in 13 and 15 were bad, not at all. I think if you look into them deep enough, there's going to be a lot to love about both games. And therein lies the problem. I shouldn't have to go digging through mountains of data logs to make sense of a location or plot point. I shouldn't have to sacrifice a fleshed out main quest for more padding like fetch quests and kill tasks. I mean, sure, Lightning is a great character, but what would you rather have? More outrageous kickflips or more history into who she is as a person? I shouldn't have to take time out to do research just so I can figure out what is going on. Data logs and side quests are fine, but they should be there as an option for people who simply can't get enough out of the main story and not used to help people stop scratching their heads. If there's one thing on this list I hope Square does, it's this one. I would love to see the main story actually woven into, well, the main story. And there you have it. That is my top 5 things that I'd like to see in the newest installment in the Final Fantasy series. When it hopefully eventually does come out. Hopefully we won't have to wait as long as we have been for the past few. But that was like not in any specific order or anything like that, but definitely 5 things that have been kind of on my mind. That being an old school fan of the series, I'd like to see some of the old school things that made it great kind of resurface again. Pull a 9, if you will. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. If you agree, disagree, anything like that. I'd love to hear what you think about it. Let me know in the comments below, and like and subscribe and all that stuff. I appreciate you watching, and as always, keep on gaming.